Bitch, you don't know what seconds are. Welcome to Ranger Reviews, a web series where we look at episodes of the TV show Power Rangers and then discuss them. Today we're exploring the 22nd episode of the show Power Rangers in Space, as well as the 272nd episode overall titled The Silver Secret. We begin this episode on the Dark Fortress where Astronema is rewatching Zane's fight from last episode with Crocotox. She has a pocket watch with her and she counts down the time in which he's morphed. His powers are extremely limited, and Clipter says that they'll take advantage of this. She calls forth a Mantis monster, telling him to take down the Silver Ranger, saying he's only strong for 2.5 minutes. On the megaship, Alpha's running tests on Zane. He asks what the prognosis is, and we see that Andros and Cassie are walking by. They stop and listen, and Alpha says that Zane doesn't have much time. Cassie and Andros are freaking out, walking away to tell the others. Zane asks how much time he has, and Alpha says 2.5 minutes, and after that he'll demorph every time. Zane has to find a way to restore his powers. Cassie and Andros join the others and are about to tell them, but then Zane walks in. Andros and Cassie then immediately try to get him to sit down and relax, put his feet up. Deca then alerts them of a monster named Praying Mantis because fuck you, and everyone runs out, telling Zane to stay back. They flip into the scene morphed, now surrounding Praying Mantis. He's mad that there's only 5 Rangers here, and we see that Astronema is watching this, mad that Silver didn't even show up. Mantis then flies away from the others, telling them that they need to call out Silver. Zane is molesting an apple on the megaship and he's wondering how they're doing without him. Dude, just like watch it on the screen. Deca brings it up and he watches his friends in Japan get their asses kicked. He goes to leave and Alpha warns him about his powers, but he goes anyways. The Rangers aren't doing great, but here comes Zane, hitting the Praying Mantis down. Andros and Cassie try to tell him to stop helping essentially, but he gets out in front. He takes out his Super Silverizer, using it against the Praying Mantis, but it doesn't work, getting hit back. Andros and Cassie try to say they'll take care of this one, but Zane insists, going forward, firing at the Praying Mantis as the clock counts down the seconds left for Zane's powers. He gets hit back and the others go forward. Zane's powers are waning, so he runs away so he doesn't demorph in public. Meanwhile, the others are tossing Praying Mantis around out of nowhere, using their weapons on him. He then retreats. They then realize that Zane is missing and they're confused. Zane, unmorphed, then runs up, and they ask if he's okay. Cassie and Andros are super afraid that he's not okay. They decide they have to tell the others. In the lounge, everyone is sitting down to eat minus Zane. They ask Andros what the big mystery is. Cassie then just blurts it out and the others are confused. Zane is walking by, punching a code into a door, and he overhears them talking about how he demorphed. He immediately laughs at them, thinking that he's dying, but he's not going to let this just go. Zane walks in, faking a bit of a frog in his throat, and the others immediately start tending to him, letting him sit down and giving him food. He doesn't want Carlos' spinach though, so he suggests eating pie, which turns into Cassie and Ashley fighting over whether he should actually eat the pie because it's not healthy, but he does want it, so maybe he should just have it. He just smiles on because Zane is kind of both the best and absolute worst. On the Dark Fortress, Astronema interrogates the Praying Mantis, who grovels. Astronema says that if he can detain the Silver Ranger for 2.5 minutes, this will do the rest, putting a timer on his shoulder. That's a bomb, that's definitely a bomb. Alpha finds out that Zane's powers are just low on energy from being stagnant for so long, like a car that's been parked for too long. He needs a concentrated dose of high voltage electricity to just restore his powers. He has to find a way to jumpstart it. Alpha says he's perfectly healthy, and Zane tells him that the others think that he's dying, and Alpha gets pissed about this. And Zane doesn't want to tell them the truth because he has a good thing going here. The others hear about the Mantis coming back via Deca, who says that she'll alert Zane, but they tell her no, and Andros gives direct order to not tell Zane about this. They run into him in the hall, and they say there's a minor disturbance and he's not needed. He tries to tell them the truth, but they leave. He goes into the bridge and he sees that they're fighting the Praying Mantis. Alpha says to not go because it's not safe. Zane then has Deca bring up the global weather map, and he's looking for a lightning storm. Alpha says no, bad idea, but then he finds one in California. He decides to leave, ignoring Alpha yelling at him to stop. The others are getting blown up to shit by the Praying Mantis, and it's not looking so great for them. Also, Zane is climbing rocks at a beach somewhere while lightning is going on. Also, the others still suck. Zane almost flies off of the cliff. This is actually really boring, but I'm pretty sure this is where they might have filmed High Five, maybe? Anyways, Zane gets to the top, opening up his Digimorpher. He holds it up to the sky, posing like a skinny legend as the lightning strikes the morpher and bits around him. Yeah, he'd definitely be dead. Then here comes the Silver Ranger to save the day. Astronema is pleased to see that he has arrived. Zane calls out the Super Silverizer, taking on the monster, and the others try to help, but they're ambushed by a bunch of Quantrons from behind. Now the Praying Mantis is flying around because I guess that's a thing he can do. Zane goes to go get him, but he hits up dirt, disappearing before his scythe just flies in, getting stuck around Zane. Mantis then says in a few short seconds it's bye-bye for the Silver Ranger because of his little secret. But he has like a minute left, Bitch, you don't know what seconds are. He then makes Zane fly up and we're down to 20 seconds. The Rangers get free, each running towards Zane, who is yelling for them to get him down. Then the clock goes down and the others are yelling as Zane just straight up blows up. Holy shit. He's just gone and Carlos goes, oh no, in like the most monotone way ever. They're all super sad and Andros says he lost him again. Yeah, Andros, you suck. They all run forward for the Mantis monster, but he just hits them down. They scream about how they have to keep going because Zane would want them to keep fighting. Then Mantis jumps toward them, but here comes Zane on a galaxy glider. He hits him down and apparently he's like totally fine. Zane just says he may be tough, but he's not that tough. Okay, but how? They don't answer this at all. Zane is just like, guess again. Okay, but what? Andros, Zane, and Cassie attack the monster with their individual weapons, blowing him up. Astronema calls for the saddle lasers, which make Mantis giant. They call it the Mega Voyager, forming it immediately. They fight against the giant praying Mantis, tossing him back. He then tosses his scythe again, but this time they catch it, tossing it back at him. Then they take out the Mega V3 missile, firing at the praying Mantis, killing him. R.I.P. monster who didn't even get a real name. Astronema is pissed because she's still going to target the Silver Ranger. On the ship, Zane is walking around and he finds the others in the lounge. They start babying him again, giving him juice. But it's spinach juice, making him spit it out. They say how he must be all sick and whatnot, and Zane says, it was just a joke guys, everyone calm down. He tells them the truth and they give him cleaning supplies to clean the mega ship from top to bottom and he just walks away. Okay, the end. This episode's really weird. Like, it's a Zane episode, but it's really about how others get easily played by Zane. Also, I don't know what to think of Zane. I mean, on one hand, he's a total douchebag liar who is totally manipulating the situation in a way that no Power Ranger has ever done before. On the other hand, he's like hot as fuck, so I guess he's okay. But seriously, he's a very different character from one I think we've ever seen before. This resolution for the morphing issue is like, fine, I guess. I just wish there had been an explanation at all about how he exploded right in front of the Rangers, but then somehow he lived and was fine. Like, there should have been a reason here. Next time, things get steamy for Zane, but until then, may the power protect you.